Chapter 7, The Nameless Bookstore. Name your bookstore, dude. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decided to pay the library a visit.
Where is the bookseller?
That's your first comment? Not that, hey, there's a bunch of blood all over the door and dripping all over the floor? That would be my first thought. As a detective. I don't know, maybe contact the police?
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Diary of the Pastor's Wife, Volume 4. The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to the voice in his head because it holds the truth. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm hearing chains rattling. I'm seeing clippage. That's odd to have in just a normal library. Another medical book. History of Darkwater, Volume 2. A Puritan colony, led by the Reverend John Wickwood, settled on the island during the 17th century. 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. Sounds good. I'll be stealing that. It is a bookstore, but you have a lot of copies of that one particular book. Bloody footprints. Mythology. Theology. Breviary of Medicine, Tome 3. Even a few years back, it was possible for a single practitioner to know all the medical knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes the series, shows that it is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thought I heard something.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
Book of Zizan, however he pronounced it. These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the esoteric movement founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensively on the texts of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the Nameless Bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Odd, it's in the mythology section and not the theology section, considering it was a book about theology. That looks like another occult book. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2. As precise and illustrated with as much detail as the first volume, this book focuses on healing surgeries specific to malformations and motor disorders. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds pretty good. Oh, we didn't read our description. The Nameless Bookstore, October 28th, 1924. I left the Sanders house, still shaken by my encounter with the Shambler. Thanks to Kat's indications, I ended up at the Nameless Bookstore, a haunt for devotees of esotericism. The place seems to have been burglarized. Who could have done such a thing? You're not pointing out that there was blood. It's not so much that it's been burglarized, more than the fact that there's blood all over the place. Mental trauma. Meet the Shambler. It is in Francis Sanders' private gallery that Pierce discovers the identity of the Shambler, a huge artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins. When Pierce approached it, a creature burst forth from the painting and immediately chased after him. This beast from another dimension has such a hold on the mind of the person who finds himself in its presence that a simple glance in its direction is enough for Pierce to lose some sanity. Pierce finally managed to send the Shambler back into the painting using a dagger engraved with a strange symbol. This encounter has left its mark on the psyche of the investigator. Still under the influences of the creature, he almost stabbed his own hand. Oh no, that sounds pretty bad. The Sanders residence. Oh no, so I don't read these I read them after the fact. It's fine. It's just gonna say the same thing we already knew because we already witnessed it. We do have the dagger of the ancients. That is the dagger I picked up. Oddly, it looked longer. This exceptional dagger of Ottoman origin probably dates from the 16th century. Nope. Guess. It bears the Elder sign on its hilt. It apparently belonged to Pargali Ibrahim Pasha, Grand Vizier at the court of Suleiman the Magnificent. Legend tells that Pargali used the symbol on the dagger to protect the court from a creature that haunted the mirrors of the palace. What is certain is that Suleiman had his vizier executed. Did he fear him after this demonstration of power? Probably. Painting of the Shambler. Am I also carrying this around with me? Painting of the Shambler? Oh, this is just occult. This isn't stuff I'm carrying. The painting was exposed in Francis Saunders' gallery, but I think that the creature no longer requires it for movement. It went to hunt down Sanders in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. I do not know where it comes from, but one thing is sure, it's starving. Did I succeed in sending it back to its world? I am not sure. It's an extract from a notebook by me. Again, past tense stuff means my character's probably gonna die. If they're giving me all of this past tensely. Oh, I need to have the light out for this. Will you read the book? Yes.
What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
That's the Shambler. It's the Malleus Bestiarum. This collection catalogs and classifies creatures that I had never heard of. Divinities from the stars. Creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as a reference book on the bestiary of the myth, without giving details on the mythology to which it refers. Its pages are covered with phantasmagorical illustrations. Sure. Phantasmagorical. All right. Other side of the bookstore. This is linguistics. This is archaeology. This is poetry. This is history. Yep, 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. History. Astronomy. Alchemy. History of Darkwater, Volume 4. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak... Where was I reading? Its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the waters surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears even more mysterious because up till then, the region was a favored refuge for cetaceans. I'm assuming that's whales, but their actual name. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Scylla returns to port with a gigantic creature on board. Its crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship. Yep. Yup. Used goods. Hey, the Holy Grail. Glad he keeps a copy of the... Not a copy. Glad he keeps the Holy Grail in his bookstore. There is no white king on this chessboard, which means the blacks won. Is that the sound of my lantern? Oh, that's just the smoke in the air. Someone was looking at biplanes? Not biplanes, blimps. Zeppelins.
What happened here?
Probably best I not know what he was doing in here, based on the painting and the chair. That is a lot of cockroaches. And mice.
What a strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it.
As I'm holding it right here in front of my face. Amulet in the shape of a dog. A strange amulet. The pendant is in the shape of a large dog. I don't know what it represents. I might find out more by searching the bookstore. And then I put it in my pocket. I shouldn't touch this amulet. Let me just pocket it. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 1. The least that can be said about this book is that its title is well conceived. The illustrations of human anatomy and dissection methods presented are illustrated in great detail. You have to have a strong heart or the detachment proper to doctors to consult its pages. Sounds pretty good. I'm good with that. Okay. Can I look at what's behind the nudie picture, or do I have to do this first? Okay.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Yeah, because you would cover your hand. Investigation.
Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably.
Oh, he's carrying a book and leaving. Medicine.
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy.
Shouldn't that thing still be there? Because it was there in the present.
What killed all these animals?
Why are there so many? Like mice, I guess I can kind of get. There's so many just piled up cockroaches.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene?
I didn't even see that crowbar.
What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
What do you mean? He left with something. We don't know what he's carrying, but he's carrying something. He didn't just break in and then not take something. Occultism.
What the... Charles Hawkins?
Occultism. Oh!
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
Occultism again.
Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see him over here.
Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
Charles Hawkins tried to burglarize Algernon Drake's bookstore. But how is it possible given that he is supposed to be dead? There's a lot more behind this story than a mere conjugal drama. What did Sarah Hawkins and Algernon Drake try to hide in the latter's safe? So Algernon Drake, the owner of the bookstore, also knew Sarah Hawkins. Their relationship went far beyond that of a seller and a faithful client. She helped him to protect an object. They hid it in the back room safe, and Sarah Hawkins painted this strange symbol on the door. Charles Hawkins must have wanted to steal it. I must open the safe and find out what's hidden inside. How can I find the combination? Well, I'll tell you. Why is it still saying I have? I already read that. The Nameless Bookstore. I've never seen such a collection of works on why am I reading this? And magic occultism. We already know what that is. And then we just read this, but it has a new addition. The Hound. Do not make the mistake of taking this jewel for an inanimate object. The soul of a powerful sorcerer, devourer of bodies on the Ling of the Ling cult, a sect from Central Asia, lies in this jade amulet. His very characteristic form, a massive hunting dog, represents the transformation of the sorcerer into a man-eating ghoul. Whoever unearths the amulet and wears it around his neck is at risk of the sorcerer's wrath. The latter will return in the shape of a formidable hunter to track and dismember all defilers. Hey. Sure. And I am taking it with me, even though I specifically said, don't pick it up. Okay.
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
Drake's memoirs. These are memoirs? Shouldn't it just be the combination of his safe? A page seems to be hidden here. It is possible to read. Well, you wouldn't point that out. You'd only point something out if it's impossible to read. If it's a page, the normal position would be to read it. If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I am in serious trouble. We've actually met Algernon Drake already. He was on the island. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. The following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combined in the Greek world. Scylla? Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as a celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its content into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be there to guide you nor to suffer from your actions. Drake's still alive. Last we know, we met him. We talked to him. There's a lot of beetles.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
I found this sleeping pills in the bookshop. Does the bookseller suffer from insomnia?
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
Key of relay file. Relay. This key that bears the Elder sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion, hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from the last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips trips to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. Okay. Can't zoom in, so I can't read anything else. There are some names there, one of them being Algernon Drake. Yeah, I can't read the others, because again, it does not let me zoom in. According to the check mark, I got all the clues here. Oh, this is going to be lovely.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
Arkham Anthology, Volume 4. The Key of Solomon. Is that Solomon Wayne? A book of spells supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals of invocation and rituals of curse. Re-edition by Claudia D. Waits, based on L.W.D. Lawrence's original. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural. I don't know why I struggled with saying that.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
We already read that one.
Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection?
This one's a different one. This is Arkham Anthology Volume 8. Massa di Requiem per Shuge. Opera in 8th acts by Buenaventuo Chiefti Brodigira. An infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing. This volume is part of the... Oh, we don't need to read that part. Wait, was this a different one?
Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions.
Oh, I didn't... I thought I
Never
clicked
heard
on
of
this one first. I clicked on that lower one twice. Arkham Anthology, Volume 9. Azathoth and Other Horrors. A collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby, also known as the Nightmare Lyrics. This collection of poems was sensationally received when first published in 1908. Derby was only 18 years old. Okay. Should be 7.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Arkham Anthology 7, Isis Unveiled, a book of esoteric philosophy and a key text in Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical Movement, written by Helena Petrona Blavatsky. Okay. Why can't I look at that one, number 5?
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
We've done that one.
Arkham Editions.
Arkham Anthology,
Never heard
Volume 6, The Prophecies, a collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse. Written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Leone and Theophilus Whitebridge. He's goddamn Whitebridge.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Arkham Anthology, Volume 1, Oera Linda, an ancient Frisian manuscript translated by William R. Sandbach. The text claims that, in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by the mothers of this people, and, moreover, that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language. That's 3. Is there 2? Are you 2?
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Arkham Anthology, Volume 2, Corpus Hermeticum, written by Hermes Trismegistus, translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Copolius. This collection of texts on different beliefs was written by a legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, a popular text among 16th century alchemists.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Arkham Anthology, Volume 3, Things That Should Not Be, a collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends, written by Albert Wilmarth, professor at Miskatonic University. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't read 5, 6, 7, 8. Why can't I read?
How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions.
It's a little odd. Oh, this was the Greek that it was hidden behind.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
When he said they were hidden behind Greek, I thought it was hidden behind, like, something Greek. That's just anatomy, which I guess... Wait, isn't that typically written in Latin? I wonder if I've already... I was just seeing if I've already read Arkham Editions Volume 5, and if that's why I couldn't read it again. It's just seems odd to me. No. Oh. Dang it. Drake Cylinder 1. A cylinder meant to be listened to on a phonograph. Yep, they all just say the same thing. And where was the phonograph?
Things are not looking good.
No, this game is over. I've already said that. There is no white king on the board, therefore that chess game is done.
A kind of chalice.
This goblet seems to be very ancient. It seems to be made of gold and decorated with real precious stones. Do the rubies and sapphires make up a specific motif? So now there's new stuff to interact with now that I've done the thing. Is there anything else? More oil? No, I think that's it. Arkham Editions. Drake Cylinder 1.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
That's talking about the goblet.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
All right.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham Editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
So he said red, number of rubies. If I start from this smash one, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rubies. Number of remaining pieces on the board that are not the queen, 3. 5, 3, 9? Those books, I thought they were a person. Well, that doesn't seem good.